You can use PDF Meld to populate data into form fields in a fillable PDF. For example, in this PDF, we can type information into predefined form fields. Note that we can only type data in and print it out. We cannot save the PDF with the data typed in. This limits us to filling out the form entirely in one shot and then printing it, because we won't be able to come back to it later and add more data. With PDF Meld, we can add information into the PDF. First, we can use the -FDF out option to create what's called an FDF file, or fillable forms data file. This is helpful if we don't know the names of the fields within the PDF. This file will contain the field names, along with any predefined values that might be set. In this case, the bulk of the fields are empty, so there's nothing set up for the /v option or the value option. But we can type in some data. For example, for credit union name, we'll type in the text test credit union, and then we'll save this as a new FDF file. When we open the FDF file from the command line, the PDF opens and is filled in with the data that we had typed in. Note that the data is not saved directly into the PDF, it's simply in the FDF file. You'll need both the FDF file and the PDF if you want anyone to see the data you typed in. This is a manual way of getting some data into a PDF. A better way is to use PDF Meld to merge some data into a new PDF. We'll use an XML-based file. It contains the tag fields, followed by a PDF tag to denote what PDF we want to use to fill in, followed by the field names, along with the value we want set. In this case, we have one PDF and a set of fields to add information to. When we run PDF Meld, we get a new PDF with the data we had entered into the XML form. In this case, the data is saved into the PDF. There is no FDF file. Note that we can still change the data. However, we still won't be able to save our changes. We can use the flatten option to remove the form fields and replace them with the text from our XML file. Now when we open the PDF, the form fields have been removed and have been replaced with the static text. Note we can no longer change the data in this PDF. We can also use the Flatten Fields option to specify which fields we want to flatten. This leaves the remaining fields open for input. In this example, we'll flatten 2 of the fields. When we open the PDF, you'll see that these 2 fields are flattened and cannot be changed. Other fields may still be modified, however. Now we'll open up a second XML file. In this case, we're going to repeat the information. We'll have one PDF for one person, along with a second PDF for another individual. And we can continue this pattern and link together as many as we want. We'll flatten the fields and use the No Bookmarks option. When we open our PDF, you'll see that the first two pages are for one individual, followed by the same two pages for a different individual. And again, we can continue this pattern for as many as we have. Taking the options we just used, let's encrypt the PDF. We use the -O and -U options to provide an owner and user password, and we'll also specify no print. Now when we open the PDF, we'll be prompted for a password. Also note that printing has been disabled. The Data option provides an easy method to permanently store information in a fillable PDF, whether once or repeated across many instances of the same PDF.